It's 612 CE. China has been united under the Sui dynasty in 581 CE after having been divided for over 150 years. Although the dominant power in the region, to their north the Goguryeo Kingdom had allied with Turkic Khaganates and raided the Sui border regions, refusing to bend the knee to China. In response, Emperor Yang would send a force of over 3 million to subjugate the Goguryeo Kingdom, becoming one of the largest invasion forces in history. The Goguryeo controlled large parts of Manchuria and most of modern Korea and was one of the 3 Korean kingdoms at the time. A previous attempt by the Sui to invade in 598 CE had been defeated by poor weather. Heavy rain had stopped the progress of troops on land, and the navy had suffered severe losses due to rough seas. In 609 CE, the Grand Canal linking the south of China to the north was completed and facilitated the transport of food and troops to conflict regions in the north. This provided enormous resources for a renewed effort to subjugate the Goguryeo Kingdom. The 3 million sent to conquer the Goguryeo were made of 1 million combat troops and 2 million support troops. As many of the Sui troops were conscript farmers, they had to invade after crops were harvested in the autumn. This was problematic as troops could not live off the land in winter and supplies for the huge army had to be brought in from China. When they had entered Goguryeo territory, these supply lines were under threat, so each soldier had to carry 50 kilograms of their own food and supplies. Many discarded some of their food to lighten their burden. In early 612 CE, the army marched into Goguryeo. Knowing that they could not hold on to all of their territory, the Goguryeo retreated first past the Liao River, then into the mountainous forts north of the Yalu River. Despite their overwhelming numbers, the Sui forces had started to run out of food at this point, and their weakened forces failed to capture these forts for months. Seeing that his plan was not working, Emperor Yang decided to divide his forces and sent a force of 300,000 to take the Korean capital of Pyongyang. However, the army, weakened by hunger and guerrilla attacks, could not scale the large walls of the city. To turn the invaders away, the Goguryeo feigned surrender. Exhausted by the months of campaigning and with few alternatives, the army of 300,000 was satisfied and turned back home. The Sui troops reached the Salsu River, thought to be modern-day Changchun River in North Korea. The Goguryeo army was comprised of cataphracts, light cavalry, heavy and light infantry, axemen and archers. The Koreans waited until half of the Chinese army had crossed the river and then attacked the middle and rear of the Sui column. The Sui had been caught in a vulnerable position. Organization and discipline quickly collapsed among the surrounded Sui forces. Some troops held up a heroic defense, and others even broke out of the Goguryeo encirclement. But the actions of so few had little impact on the overall disintegration of the Chinese army. Most of the Sui army were annihilated, and those who escaped had to contend with continuous harassment by the pursuing Korean troops. Of the 300,000 that had marched to Pyongyang, just 2,700 managed to flee back across the Liao River. The defeat in Korea made Emperor Yang unpopular back home in China. These costly defeats in Korea and the conscription and heavy taxation levied on the people contributed to a popular rebellion where Emperor Yang was assassinated. The Sui had lost their mandate of heaven in Goguryeo and were replaced by the Tang in 618 CE. The Tang would later march into Goguryeo and, with the help of the Korean Shilla Kingdom to the south, destroyed the Goguryeo in 668 CE.